I had one of the more shocking initially and then inspiring moments of my life just a couple of days ago. I was pruning my geranium, taking out the dead branches. We're in the dead of winter, and I was just procrastinating doing my work. And I noticed a bit of pillow stuffing underneath the geranium. And I pulled it away, and I wasn't thinking, and I kept pulling more and more away, and there was really quite a lot of it. It clearly, I then realized, was something, whether it be a squirrel or a rat, had been systematically coming back and forth, creating this nest. And while this genius, what it took for this genius to realize that was when I took away all of the insulation or whatever the stuffing, and there were approximately 6 pink new babies. I immediately, even though I know that squirrels and rats can pass disease, and I know squirrels have been eating my rose seedlings that I have up there. Of course, I want to protect those lives. And rabies is quite rare. And so I put the stuffing back right away and worried like hell that that with the smell of my hands on there, that would deter the mom from coming back, because I had heard that if you're trying to get rid of rats, say in your attic, if you're going to put out rat traps, you need to put rubber gloves on, because if you don't, then the rat trap will have the smell of your hands, and that would deter the rats from going to the trap. But it was joyous for me yesterday to see. Indeed, the mommy came right back to that place, at least twice. As I was watching, he dropped something off there, or maybe just breastfed, I guess, squirrels, and it was a squirrel, not a rat. Breastfed, and then went back, skittered across the deck, and then skittered back again. And it reminded me of what is probably obvious, maybe to you, to everybody, is the miracle of birth. I think women talk about it a lot more than men, but there are very few things that really are awesome. It's a word that awesome gets tossed around, it's cheapened. But truly, the act of creating a baby and birth is truly one of life's few awesome things. And I want to share with you my meditation on birth. Maybe even, hopefully, I always try to be practical. In the end, hopefully some practical thoughts, but maybe not. Who the hell knows? As you know, I don't script any of this. I'm just sharing you with what I do a little preparation, but then basically talk with you. What a miracle that this act of, among the greatest pleasures that humans ever have, the act of having sex, can result in the start of a baby who will grow into this huge life-size person and live for 70, 80, 100 years. Probably the baby today born could have a life expectancy in the 90s or 100. Who knows, maybe even in perpetuity, as some very optimistic, what they call transhumanists, believe. But certainly, here you have this wonderful, beautiful act resulting in these 2 little cells, a sperm cell and an egg cell. That's a miracle in itself. And then think about the miracle of them merging together. Then think of the miracle of them dividing. How do the cells then divide? Even more amazing is, how do they differentiate? They don't just make the same cells, but they make hands and arms and heart, and maybe most amazing, a brain. And then there is the drama of birth. If a mom is lucky, I know some moms who were in the hospital, and before they even got to the delivery room, they had the baby just almost in the lobby. Or I've heard of it happening in the car on the way. Or on the other end, it could be some really long extended labor. But in the end, hopefully if everything is right, you've got a baby who healthy, and start of a life. Boy, that really does remind me of the genetic lottery. Some babies are born almost preordained to have a good life because of the genes of their parents, the kind of parenting they're going to do, the peer environment that they grow up in, and of course whether they were born healthy. How much luck there really is. I'm not a big fan of the term privilege because there is so much earned, quote, privilege, earned accomplishment, earned money, or etc. But here is where there's huge luck. Who you're born to genetically, what kind of parents in terms of how they bring you up, the neighborhood in which you live, the friends you happen to make. That's so much luck, and it so profoundly affects who you end up. And then life starts. 70, 80, as I said, 100 years, who knows? Think back to your life, what your life was like as your earliest memories, maybe when you were 5, in school, your friends, diseases you might have had or not. And think forward to high school and different kind of relationships and dreams, hopes and dreams, sometimes fulfilled, often not. True of college as well. And then adulthood, career. So many people end up either falling into their career by chance or they choose something, but then something happens and they pivot. There's luck there too, who your boss happens to be. Sure, luck favors the well-prepared, but there is the older I get, the more luck I really do believe plays an important role. So, what are the implications of all this? I guess reminding ourselves of this miracle of birth and life and in the end death hopefully makes us want to live a life more examined, make the most of each heartbeat. I'm this super hard worker. My definition of the life well led is spending as much time as possible using my best skills to make a difference that someone else might not make, and that's why I write so much and do these YouTube videos and seek my clients. But some more people are more interested in work-life balance. Some are hedonists. But as we stand back here and think about the miracle of birth, the miracle of how a person comes to be, does that give you that sense of awe, and maybe that you have a cosmic obligation to try to make the most of your life? A couple other thoughts. I want to keep this to be a short episode of How to Do Life. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's fine. It doesn't matter the length. But this is also I use the YouTube as the basis for a podcast, which can be heard on iTunes or Spotify or Simplecast by just searching How to Do Life and Nemco. You'll find it. Let's see, I don't know, do I really want to say much more? I guess I want to end with just this little thing. Like I said, my sense of the meaning of life, and which of course is and the limitations of life, have become more apparent. I'm ostensibly still in excellent health, but I'll be 71 in June, and I'm an intense man, and men live 5 years shorter than women in their last decade in worse health. So in addition to being maximally contributory in as many hours as I can of my waking hours, I focus, to ensure that I do that, I focus on finding short pleasures that don't take me away from my work, but I actually squeeze out as much gratitude and pleasure from very short things, like my doggie here. He's sleeping next to me on the bed. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see. I love hugging my dog. I love hugging my wife. I love taking hikes with my dog. I like sitting in what I call our cocoon, binge watching. When I was growing up, you would have to wait a week between episodes. Now you can binge watch. Taste the first bite of food. Enjoying nature, enjoying my walks with the dog. Grateful for Trader Joe's and the wonderful products they sell at a fair price. A staff that's always wonderful. I'm grateful for all of those because I'm aware of the beauty and of life, and while I'm aware of the downside, I really try to banish worry. I've been a lifetime hypochondriac, but one of the best ways I deal with it is simply what the therapist would not have us do. I simply suppress any thoughts. I assume, okay, something's going to get me. As my doctor used to tell me, he said, something gets everybody. Whether it's going to be a heart attack or a stroke or cancer or diabetes or whatever the hell it is, or COVID. I try to banish worry. I try to take reasonable precautions. I'm reasonably careful around COVID. I didn't let myself get obese. I don't do drugs. But then I just try to banish thoughts. I immediately try to suppress worries. I'm a worrier by nature. And I try to banish worry by redirecting myself. As soon as a negative thought thinks to me, I say, okay, assume the worst, whatever the hell it is. Anything you can do about it? No? Okay, move on. Think of something positive. Like creating these videos. This gives me more pleasure than almost anything in my life. Not just pleasure. It gives me moderate pleasure, but it gives me a sense of worthwhileness and meaning that I'm making something of my heartbeats. And I think the last thing I want to tell you about life is I also do one little thing to remind me. I have a thing about butterflies. It was just recent. I didn't give a shit about butterflies until, 3 months ago. And then I was reminded of the miracle of their quick metamorphosis from, caterpillar to butterfly, and then their short life expectancy. They only live, I hear 2 months, and then die. So I got on a kick. I started slow, but I have literally dozens of these butterfly stakes. They're made out of waterproof plastic, and they look quite beautiful. Some are whimsical, some are realistic, and they're all over my garden. And then I said, oh, that's cool. And then I ended up, they're cheap. You could buy the double wing kind, which have 2 pairs of wings so that they last longer. 50 of them for like 11 or 12 bucks on Amazon. The brand is Fenely Double Wing. And I took a milk container, a quart milk container, and I just bought another set of 50. Then I put them out with a little sign that says free. Take as many as you want. And and people take them all the time. And I walk up and down my block and I see lots of butterflies. So I bought more. I've bought probably now 4 packs of them and keep putting them out. And I enjoy going out and seeing them go. If they go, I know that somebody's putting them out there. So that's an ongoing reminder of the brevity and beauty of life. And I would encourage you to go to Amazon and do search on the term Fenely, Fenely, double wing, butterfly steaks, and buy yourself at least 1 pack. I think it's $11.99. Put them around your apartment. You can put them in your apartment if you don't have an outside, or put them outside, and the extras, put them outside for people to take with a little free sign. It's a little way to remind ourselves of to celebrate life, at least as I see it, and it's just they're simply beautiful. In any event, I'm going to stop here. I appreciate your listening if you're listening on a podcast, and you're watching if you're watching this on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts have broader impact. I guess you could do that too if you listen to the podcast. In any event, and I do thank you for subscribing to my channel, whether it is on YouTube or my podcast. And in any event, I do thank you for watching or listening. I am Marty Nemko.